It's TGI Now time. Back again in the K420 studio discussing real, authentic truth talk, freedom of speech, and living in the now. Freeing your mind.
One episode at a time.
Shit, we trying.
Boom.
Boom.
Back in it.
Here we are. What's up?
Always a funny intro, right?
I mean, that intro, I remember when we first started that intro, it was funny, like with the praise song, because Rondell did.
Yeah. Well,
we kept it. Yeah.
The best part was when we were in the old studio and you were like, Rondell, you got a song, don't you? Got something on YouTube? And I'm like, what's he talking about? And all of a sudden he's like, he hits it up on, and he's like, what was it called? Pray?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you pulled up, started playing. I was like, oh my God, there's our intro.
There's our intro song.
There it is. I was like, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
Right?
It worked out. So anyway, we have a special guest in the house.
Yes.
We have my amazing wife, Sandra Rivera, who is also the president of the Hispanic Republicans of Indian River County. So let's welcome Sandra.
Welcome, Mama.
Yeah. So what's up, Sandra? How you doing?
I'm doing fine. A little exhausted, but I'm doing fine.
All right.
Yeah, I know you're home preparing for your event tomorrow.
Right.
Then you have the Cinco de Mayo event. So let's talk about your event tomorrow. So who do you have coming by tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow we're going to have our event. It's going to be at the Heritage Center, and we're going to have eight J6ers from the Panhandle throughout Florida.
Okay.
And every day I get, people added on because, word of mouth. So they're coming in and they're going to say their story. It's going to be at the Heritage Center at 6:00.
Nice.
We're going to have, fundraiser for them. We're going to be selling food. They're going to tell their stories. We're going to have amazing people. We're going to have also the Born to Ride for 45. Those are George, the president, and there's like six or seven guys that are coming with their wives.
Nice. Who are the J6ers?
So we have J6ers. I'll tell you right now. I have a list of them. We have Barry Ramey. We have Leslie Gray. We have Kelly Meggs, Keith and Angel Harrison. They're both brothers, and what's good about them, and it's amazing that they're going to tell their stories. They never told their stories before. Tomorrow is going to be the first time they'll tell their stories, what happened to them.
All right.
So that's all. And then we're going to have Glenn Brooks, and he's a Vero Beach resident. He lives out here in Vero Beach. Nice guy. John Pollock Jr. and his wife, Olivia Pollock.
All right.
And then I have a couple of other ones that are coming also tomorrow.
Oh, that's awesome. What time does it start?
It starts at 6.
6
And
o'clock.
it's at the Heritage Center in Vero?
Yes, that's a Heritage Center, so it's going to be the John Burks and Grassroots for America and Born to Ride for 45. So
Nice.
we're going to do this for the J6ers, and if anyone's available, please come down tomorrow. And
is there a fee, or is there a cost? Is it a donation?
yeah, it's a donation.
Okay.
Exactly. Anything you want to give to the guys, they're going to be selling books, they're going to
But
be selling
there's
t-shirts.
no entry fee.
Okay.
That's what
There's no
she
entry
said.
Awesome,
fee. We're
yeah.
just going to be selling some Spanish food,
All right.
and everything that comes through the door. We're going to have a 50-50. Anything that comes through the door, it's totally for the guys.
Okay.
Yeah, she did that last time. How much money did you collect for the last J6?
They got some money.
She gave them all the money. She even doubled it.
Okay.
So they, it's not so much about the club getting the money. The club is doing well, thank God, as far as what I understand. But what she's been doing is that if the J Sisters come, she's trying to support them, because right now they have no real support. They're not getting any money yet.
Yeah.
A lot of them lost their jobs, they lost their lives.
They won't be able to get a job. Like this happened to me with the school district. I mean, I can't find a real job, and I can only imagine what they can do.
Yeah, it's going to be it's worse.
There's no work.
A lot of people still consider them as as terrorists.
Exactly.
Which is bullshit.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's cool. That'll be a fun event. And you said who else is going to be there now? The Trump bus, was that you said?
Yeah, we're gonna have Born to Ride for 45.
Okay.
No, you were saying about the big bus was going to be there too.
Is the bus going to be there too?
Yes,
Okay.
and then there's a bus that comes, the Fight bus. It's a
Okay. Big controversy with that.
That's
Yeah, it's
CJ too.
amazing.
I think the guy from Spark. I think
the Spark Free Press.
I think you said that we sponsored the
Shattering
show.
the narrative. Yeah, they're part of. They're doing the StreamYard with us. Yeah.
So that's another breakthrough through our show, another podcast.
Yeah,
which is great.
Well, this is what it's all about.
That's what we're all about. We're not looking at. I mean, we're not in competition with anybody. We want us all to win and be a voice.
Exactly.
Because the more voices out there, the more people are going to listen.
Well, that's what I put in the podcast. The title is about unity. We have to have unity, not just Hispanics and MAGA and everything else. Everybody has to come together and help each other to spread their word and spread their truth and talk and speak about what they.
Let's talk about some local stuff, and if that's the case, because I like that. And Sandra's very much involved in local stuff, so I get to ask her the question. All right, so do you see that locally, a unity in the Republican Party?
I do. There's a couple of people, I mean, that were in the Republican Party before that are no longer there, that really divided but where, we took them out.
So you're looking to build it up again, because there was a division in the Republican Party here in Indian County. I know that.
Yeah.
Yes, there was.
I think a lot of it, and I've always said this about it, locally, that it was an infiltration too. A lot of
Rhinos.
Yeah, exactly. They just that conservative mentality, but they make it look like they're conservative, but it's kind of
They're
like
watching CNN, MSNBC.
Look like a conservative.
You got to think about it like when she first started doing this. Like, she had to change their whole way of thinking about democracy.
Yeah.
She had literally, because, like you said, people had infiltrated it to make it seem like, oh yeah, we're preaching for freedom, real freedom.
And it was all bullshit.
And it was all bullshit.
Yeah, it was all lies.
She had to go in and literally rewrite how they're thinking about it.
Yeah.
When she
Let's
first
talk
got
about
there.
that. How did the Hispanic Club get started? I know the story, but you may want to tell the audience.
Yeah.
When did you start it? What year?
So I started it in 2022. Like, it was right after, in February 2022. After we all came back from J6, and everything was like, the world was like, felt like it was coming to an end because of all the shit that was happening. Everybody was getting deplatformed. You couldn't say nothing on social media because they'll ban you. You couldn't, anything that you said. And so everybody was doing the grassroots. And I says, you know what? I should just do a Hispanic club, and then I got together with the vice president at the time, Alvaro, and I spoke about it. I says, Alvaro, he came from Broward, and he was, he got plugged in, and I says, I'm like, because, very intelligent, and I says, let's do this. I want to, start a Hispanic club. We needed a board, and, and then we used Eddie's, the shop at remember?
The OK.
That's what our first meeting was. It was like maybe like 20 people.
Yeah.
We had like 20 people at the cave. Then the second time we did it at the cave, and then the third time that we started it, we did it at the abandoned, because we were fixing remember the next door?
Yeah.
And then we said, we need it. Now there was like maybe like 20 or 30 more, 25 people. Now we needed a bigger place. Then I switched to the not the Heritage Center, the community center. I got like the first day that we had the meeting, we had over like 90 people.
Wow.
Because the community was the Republican club. Everybody was excited. Jay Kramer, he was the vice chair. Not the vice chair, the chairman of the
Republican Party. He was always at the meeting.
Jay Kramer, the Republican from the chair of the Republican executive at the time, and Lamar. Everybody was excited, because I told them, hey, I'm going to do a Hispanic club. Because just do it. So they really thought that I was, she said she's going to do a Hispanic club. But when I actually got my charter, I'm like, oh my God, I got the Hispanic club. I was so excited. I said, yes, exactly. Like people say some stuff, and then you put it into action. So I put it into action. I was like so excited. And, I said, well, then at the time, Moms for Liberty was meeting on Thursdays. And I said, you know what? I want us to go to at least to support each other, because it's the grassroots. Exactly. We were like getting plugged in to try to, help each other out with like election integrity, all kinds of different grassroots organizations. I said, I'm going to change the meeting till the Wednesday. So
You
from
stuck to
like
it,
20
yeah.
people, like to now to like 130 people, and it's growing. Like everybody, from word of mouth, I'm hearing like there's people from the snowbirds that come,
Yeah.
and they come every time they come back for the 6 months. They're part of the, they just that's the only club they go to, which is great.
That's awesome. No, I
Yeah,
mean,
Judy has been there since day one. She's
Yeah,
one of the first.
Judy and Roberto, yes, Judy and Roberto.
Remember Roberto? You spoke to Roberto.
They're amazing, and they've been there since day one. They were my supporters. I said, "You guys, the original."
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
the original 12.
And you
Yeah.
think about all the people that you've had as speakers, knowing from experience with me, doing like guest speakers for like nonprofits and stuff like that, bringing in like a Darryl Strawberry and kind of those people. Well, you're bringing in people of that nature as well on your end with all these Ann Vandersteel people and, the J6ers and the Blacks for Trump and all these people you brought in as speakers makes that what the club is today, because it gives somebody something to look forward to come and hear certain people speak about their experiences and
Exactly.
why they're doing what they're doing, because everybody has a call to purpose. And
What you always say, John, about Sandra?
yeah, well, that was her role. She's
That was
playing
her
her
role,
role because
yeah.
I knew
You
that from
said
the
that.
day.
Right.
I would say the day it happened,
Well,
when you realized that.
when you decided to do the Hispanic club, but before that is when I saw it was when the Trump election and all
The
that,
election was stolen.
and you realize that our elections are not what we've been told, and that was your trigger. You were like, oh shit, like. Did they steal this from this guy? Like, has this always been happening? And I saw you think about it. I looked at you and I said, Sandra, I said, all our elections have been
Yeah,
rigged.
Obama won and Obama two.
Obama never won. It
Yes,
was all,
Obama won and Obama two was rigged.
And even before that,
This country, this country would never beat Obama one. I mean,
no.
that meant
So you came
yes,
to that
I realized
realization,
it.
like something ain't right. I can't let this happen anymore. So that was your call.
I
That was
realized
your
it.
role, was to start this club to bring these people in and speak their truth about what they've seen happen these last 5 years, and that's really what it comes down to.
So-
and it's it's impressive. It's very impressive.
So within that time, I mean, you've been, you're a J6er, in a sense. Yes, she is. And you've been to many places in Washington. You've been to the Trump mansion. You've been to, you were invited to the inauguration. You had a front row seat. So how does all that feel? I mean,
it's okay. I mean, it's just. I mean, it's an honor that I get invited to these places, but it's. I don't do it for me. I do it to give back.
More about the mission.
And
Yeah.
let everybody know what's going on. It's like it's not about me. It's, hey,
Yeah.
I'm going and I'm bringing back this, and if I can take my whole freaking club, I'll invite them all.
Yeah.
that's good.
That's good though, and but you deserve those opportunities to do that, because before I met you and before we realized about this whole Trump thing in the election, was that you got an opportunity to do these things now when you never thought that would be possible, and now they are possible. Who would have thought you were going to Mar-a-Lago 5-6 years ago? Like you would have never thought
And
that.
ask Trump a question. Right?
Exactly. Ask him a question, to be there in its surroundings, to feel what it feels like to be in that realm and that reality, and bringing that back to your club. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's those experiences and being placed in that situation.
Real leadership.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote in the thing. Yeah.
I mean, to even start, I remember
Really?
when Sandra was working for the school board, and what got her started in this whole thing was that they had the nerve to fire her in her first evaluation. Sandra was like, "What? All this time you're going to fire me because you don't like me?" And that turned on a fire in her, and she lit up the...
Exactly.
Yeah, she lit up the board, and she met all the board members. She got involved. She got Jackie elected. All this stuff got her involved because they fired her. Because otherwise, she probably
They
would
tried.
never.
No, they didn't fire.
They tried.
They would have never did that. You know what I mean?
Right. No, it's true. And that's the thing you have to decide, the triggers that need to happen in that scenario, to be like, wait a minute, like what's up with these board members? Like, what do they think they are? Like, who do they think they can do? They can't do this to me. Who do they think they are? And that's, like it happened to me with the school board. Like, I was like, who do they think they are? Like, why do they think they could just fire a parent, like, from their job because they're talking about, like, this isn't right. It
You
doesn't
went
make
against the regime.
Exactly.
So-
Yeah.
You're new in Indian with Connections, right? You guys have been involved in. So, what do you see happening? Any changes?
Everything. The Board Report podcast is doing really well. I mean, it's bringing light to these situations, like the school board, like the county commissioner, like the city council, what's going on at these meetings, where the money is being spent. A lot of the people are starting to realize, like Nick Doge might need to come to Vero Beach and go check out the city council and all the scrap that they're doing. Yeah, to come to the school district to see where this money's going, because it's all being funneled one way or the other. There's people that are getting backhanded stuff, and this is what people have to realize that go to these meetings. So we bring people on the show that go to these meetings. They go to the city council meeting, talk about the fluoride in the water and we need to get it out. We don't consent to being medicated without our consent. So yeah, no, the Angry River Connections thing is growing, and I think that's what a big part of Sandra's, what her role is, and what my role became was, the board report became because of all of what happened to me and what happened to her and what happened to Joanne Binford and all these people that, I was like, what the fuck? Like, we're just here speaking our truth. So we don't have a problem doing it, and Gus Curran's House of Champions sponsors the podcast and he backs us on what we say. And so it's spawned off on that, that's why we're doing it. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing to see, because there is no voice in town. There was no voice, it's just the newspaper or whatever, and like that's why you're right.
Sandra, now she gets so many. I had to tell her to get off the phone because she gets so many texts.
Yeah,
from people wanting to do this and do that.
Well, that's why you're doing the podcast. You got to do the podcast tour, like Rondell said. You got to do the.
Got to go on tour.
You got to go on tour, and talk about your events that are coming up. I mean, we're live right now, and so people that are watching right now live can find out about your event tomorrow, and then your event.
Everybody
the Hispanics were big on getting Trump elected.
Yes,
yes, no doubt about that.
We pushed him to the White House.
Yeah.
That's 100%. He knows that, and DeSantis too.
Yeah.
They know that if it wasn't for the Hispanic vote.
Oh, you met DeSantis. How was that meeting?
So
that's right. Yeah,
I went
recently.
I went to the governor's mansion last week. It was amazing.
Yeah, I think I have that up here.
I got to speak to the governor, and he was not happy because right now he only has like less than 2 years, and basically he's a lame duck, right?
Yep.
So they're just giving him a hard time. But he's been, through all this, we had the best governor. COVID, we were in lockdown, and he's always fighting for us. So I respect that about him.
I do. Like
his choice that he ran against Trump, that was a bad choice that he made. I'm sure he regrets it now. But other than that, he's been an amazing governor, and we have to thank God for that. And I spoke to him, and he was he was live. The interview was there.
There you go.
It was on April 1st. You can see it. Oh, that's me. DeSantis.
Yeah. He looks a little high.
Like he was sitting there with us.
He looks a little more like gummies from the show.
Like he was in here with us.
He looks like he's had a gummy.
He's
What
like,
was it that he told you, Sandra?
So I asked DeSantis. I said,
You could get the chemtrails out of the sky.
we have, I have a Hispanic club in Vero Beach. Let me know who are the rhinos. I said, who are the effing rhinos? Who the fuck? I said, who the fuck are those rhinos that are giving you a hard time in Tallahassee? And he's like, all of them.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
All the Republicans are against DeSantis, and he said out of his own mouth, they're like voting. And he is like Sandra says, he's 2 years left. He's a lame duck.
Yeah.
See, Trump knows he only has his term. That's why he's like a bull in a china can.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So he's getting, but we have to be, he shouldn't. DeSantis has been amazing. I mean, thank God that we had DeSantis. Imagine we had Andrew Gillum, right? Andrew Gillum was the one that stole the election, and Trump,
the crackhead.
Because they did steal the election, and Trump went with the FBI and gave DeSantis his seat and gave Rick Scott because they stole it. I don't know if you know that story, but they even stole it in Florida.
Wow. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Oh, he said, Enrique Tarrio. Hey, he said he's watching me live.
He's watching. No, that's
What's
awesome.
up, Tarrio?
What's up, bro?
We're gonna have you on the show.
I did tag him on the show. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Ricky, we want you on the show.
Yeah, we want you on the show.
I'll pull up his stuff right here real quick. So tell us a little about the event he's going to be on. Actually, if he's listening.
So Enrique's going to be on a May 2nd event, and he's going to be our guest of honor.
Wow.
And we're going to just give him a lot of love because of all the stuff that he's been through and all the J6ers. Like I was telling of someone, a couple of weeks ago. Every time I got a chance when I was out there in, like going to, either Tallahassee or in Washington or in Mar-a-Lago, and I had every time that the cameras were on me and did an interview, he says, "What do you think about this event?" I says, "Free the J6ers, free the J6ers," and that I was always saying that. So I gotta find two articles. I think I went live on 2 different TV stations throughout the world.
Okay.
One in Washington D.C., one outside of the convention center the day Trump was getting, it was election night, and they were asking me questions, and he goes, what do you want? I says, the first thing we want is to free our J6ers. That's the first thing.
We've been talking about
so I was always pushing that because these guys were deplatformed, everything. I mean, the stories, we haven't heard all the stories yet, but we're going to hear the stories. Yeah. They really got deplatformed their banks, their homes. I mean, they couldn't even, everywhere they went, even when they were on, I think, going through the process of getting convicted, right? They had to go to, they had to be on planes with air marshals. And, they couldn't get, they were watched. They were on the terrorists. So I was, the 9/11 terrorists had more rights than our J6ers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They didn't get their due process. It was sad. It's a sad situation.
It was a horrible thing that happened to them. It was unconstitutional what happened to those people. Yeah, but the whole point is that to keep him in there all that long. I mean, come on. We spoke to that 3.5 years he did in there for what? For trespassing? You know what I mean?
No,
so if Sandra would have walked in the building, she would have been in jail 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Just think about that, And I remember the reason why she didn't walk in because her feet were hurting. Yeah. She stopped because her feet got cold.
Yeah, I remember when Trump was speaking and he says, walk page, go peaceful, patriotically, let your voices be heard. And I says, oh my God, I want to walk. I was with my girlfriend. I says, come on, we're gonna walk. But what happened was it was the most coldest day. I lived in New York all my life, and this day it must have been the coldest. I was looking cute. I had my Michael Kors boots. I guess it wasn't.
You dressed too cute. That's
exactly.
What it was.
They weren't Uggs or nothing. I was like,
if you were dressed in Uggs,
I was a Floridian. So I'm like, oh my God. I said, and then I says, come on. She goes, all right. So we were walking, but I could not walk.
Just couldn't do it.
I could not walk. It was something.
Well, it was by the grace of God too, because I need you away for 3 minutes.
Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, you'd be doing a fundraiser for you.
And then what happened was, I remember when. So I went to the Reagan building to get a cup of coffee with my girlfriend. And we were just sitting down. All of a sudden, I'm getting calls from my daughter. I'm getting calls from Nora. I'm getting calls for so many people say, "Hey, something's happening at the Capitol."
Yeah.
And then I says, "Turn off. Are you watching CNN? There's nothing like that going on here." Because I looked around. Everybody was happy.
Yeah.
Trump flags, praising the Lord, singing.
You said you saw Bobbitt singing, right? The lady.
Yeah, and then Bobbitt. Yes, so Bobbitt was there. Yes, because we were by the. And she was up on stage. All of a sudden, they said, "Oh, something's happening," and I says, "That's BS."
Yeah.
I don't know. We were just talking. All of a sudden, they said they breached the Capitol. I said, and the first thing I said is a setup, and my whole my demeanor, literally my demeanor. I can tell you, I was like. I went through a depression. I told him, turn off the TV. I was so upset because I knew, I says, we live in the freest country in the world, yet the most corrupt. I says, these people, that was such a setup. It was, I mean, the tragedy.
It is. It's horrible.
It was.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we had the Lego Man on our show.
Yeah.
The Lego Man?
Yeah, he was on our show for the J6er as well.
Come and find out it was all set up by Nazis.
Yeah, it's all crazy, dude.
New Age Nazis.
New Age.
Did you see what Argentina released?
Pop those numbers up.
Oh, they released it. They released it. They actually released it.
Which one?
Argentina released the files that Hitler came over there after World War II.
Yeah.
He never died over there, and that Russia had a female skull that whole time. That Argentina actually released the files. He was right.
That's crazy.
They declassified that shit. That shit's nuts.
Really?
Hitler was not ran. He was brought to Argentina. Other Nazi scientists that were torturing people got shipped to NASA.
So I met the Argentine president Milei. He's amazing,
Right.
amazing. I said,
Oh,
"I got a
yeah,
picture
that's
with
right.
him."
You
Yeah.
met him.
Yeah, when I went to the inauguration, yeah,
That's great.
he was freaking amazing. I said, he goes, yes, he always puts his thumbs up. He goes, "Que viva la libertad." He says, "Que viva la libertad, carajo."
Oh my god.
He's amazing. He's like another Trumper, yeah.
He looks like Robin Williams.
Well, you know, yes.
He
He's
does. He looks like
Milei.
Robin Williams. Yeah, that's so funny.
Milei and so I want to, we have a girlfriend in
That's
her name is
great.
Bianca Gracias, and she started the Latinos for Trump back in 2016. So now it's a Latinos for America First, and we're part of that organization. And she's
Okay.
amazing. She's doing it. We were on a
what's her
call
name
yesterday.
again?
Bianca Gracias,
Okay.
and we were part of that. We're part of that organization, and we're gonna be doing a lot of things in Florida. So we want to have this big event with with all the Latinos, and I said, let's have Milei, Bukele, Marco Rubio, and
Yeah.
let's have a big
Right.
event with all of them. That'd be
Ooh,
amazing.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a really good
Yeah,
idea.
represent the Hispanic community.
Yeah, that's smart. And it brings unity. That's what we're looking for is unity. You want to bring everybody together for one common cause, and that's for freedom. And that's what you're doing is doing that exact same thing. You're helping to build that momentum of freedom that's coming around the corner because the best is yet to come.
I tell you, I see it, bro. I live with her, so I mean,
Yeah.
like right now, how many chickens you cooked today?
Oh, for tomorrow? Oh,
No, well, just wait. Hey, it's not like,
Just 16
yeah,
chickens.
no, it's nothing. It's nothing like that. No, it's nothing like that.
you're too
That
funny.
home cooked meal.
Anyway,
And
for
it's-
those of you watching, real quick, I know I'm smoking.
Yeah, we got quite a few people tuned in right
So
here.
I just want to say we are a 420 friendly show.
Yeah.
Sandra and I own a cannabis shop in the gym, so just so you guys to know, we're just not
Give us a like and a share. Like, we got over 3 digits here watching
Yeah.
us now, so that's great. Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's throw a quick plug out for Caps. Caps Pizza has been supporting the show since day one. They support us with subs, with pizza. They've been supporting us since day one. So we just want to say thanks to John and Caps. They're located in Oslo and Vero Beach. If you guys are ever looking for some good pizza, anything good like that, make sure you check out Caps. He's gonna throw a plug in right now.
Yeah, throw it up on the
So you
screen.
throw that menu in there.
Right
So
here.
that's Caps outside.
Yeah, that's in the picture Johnny posted
Yeah, I
the other
saw
day.
that, I saw
That's
that.
a good picture.
So that's the outside of Caps. It's off of Oslo and 27th. Nice space, man. Awesome spot. They got Pac-Man. They got a nice party room. Oh, see how it is? It's like old school. I remember when I first came here, Sandra. Remember that the Cappy owned it, and he used to come over to the table and tell us stories of his boxing in New
Right.
Jersey.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool. And now his son John has it. Nikki just opened up a shop.
Yeah,
know,
give
so
a plug out to Nikki.
yeah,
too.
yeah. Throwing the plug out to Nikki. She's out by where Dom's is at on Old Dixie.
Yeah, yeah.
So make sure you guys check that out.
There's the daily
Yeah,
specials
there
there.
goes the specials right there for Caps.
So give him a call, 772-770-CAPS. Knocking out pizza since 1987. CapsPizzaMenu.com. Tell them TGI Now sent you. Get 10% off.
off. Thank you guys.
Can't beat that, right? 10%.
Yeah,
Help out with little inflation's coming down.
yeah. There's a store during the day. It's nice. Old school store, man. It's just a nice place. A good pizza shop too. They got all kinds of food, chicken,
I'll show Nikki's.
chicken wings, subs,
Nick-
all kinds of nice stuff.
And then we'll get a little plug out
There
to,
goes to Nikki's Pizza. So that's the daughter, and that's Cappy right there.
Yep.
So make sure you guys check her out too. You guys are in that part of town.
Yeah, check her out.
Yeah, I have to drop by. She just opened, so it's new. I think she just opened
Here, I'll
today.
put-
There goes John right there. Throw that in there. Yeah, throw that in there.
video. John, his brother
So that's
Johnny.
an old Dixie.
Yeah, put
Yeah.
the speaker on. I think the speaker's
Yeah, I
on.
got it. Yep.
No, this is Cat. This is John.
Saturday, April 12th, 4 o'clock.
So they opened up the
Ready
first
to go.
day.
4 o'clock. That's ready to go. And we got a TV up. We got a TV up. So come watch the Masters at Nikki's. If you're on the southwest side of town, go to Caps. Say hi, Lorelai.
Hey, come 4 o'clock.
See you at Nikki's.
Nice.
4 p.m.
Gotta help.
So that's John. He's the one that be hooking us up with the people.
real.
He's been on our show. We're trying to get him on the show again. He happens to be John's neighbor, but he's never around. He works so much.
He lives around the
But thank
corner.
you, John. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So Sandra, I know that you had gotten an award. Let's talk about that for a minute, because I thought that was very special that you got that award by the congressman. Let's talk about that. What was the award about?
So, well, I got an award from a congressman, and it was the day I was having my birthday party, and somebody knocked on my door. It was a UPS guy. You know, my birthday's around Christmas, so that was a big box. I mean, the box was so huge. So I thought it was Eddie, so I left it in the front. But then I said my name, and I said, "Oh wow, I got a big box." I shook the big. I was like shaking the big box. I mean, what is it? Anyway, but I was, waiting for the girls to come over, and trying to get everything ready for my birthday party.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I said, "Let me see." Curious. I said, "Let me see what's in the box." It's full of papers. I'm taking out the box. All of a sudden, there's this beautiful. I have a picture of it. It was a beautiful. I don't know. I'm gonna show John. It was like a. Yeah, I was going
I
to show
think we
it.
took a picture, but we put it online, didn't we?
Let me see if I can find the picture, but I have it. It was a beautiful, award from our amazing congressman that he retired. His name is Bill Posey. Amazing. I love him. I met his daughter. Yes, as a matter of fact, I went to the Republican Women's yesterday, and some lady comes up to me. She goes, "I just want to meet you." She goes, "My name is so and so." She goes, I said, "Oh hi." She goes, I heard so many great things about you." And I said, "Really?" She goes, "I'm Bill Posey's daughter, and my dad loves you." And I said, "Oh my God, thank you so much."
There you go, Shannon.
And she was,
There you go, right there.
"Oh, okay, that's me
him.
and Bill
That's him
Posey."
right
But
there,
wait,
yeah.
I'm going to show you the picture. I want to share with you the award that I got. So anyway, I got this award. I opened the box, and it's right here. And then I got an award. This was it.
I remember that. The eagle. That's right.
Yeah, it was a big eagle. And it said,
that's right.
Conservative Lifetime Achievement Award, Sandra Rivera, with grateful appreciation for all you have done for America, presented by U.S. Congressman Bill Posey. And I started crying, because I was like, "Oh, that was so awesome." Right. It was the day of my birthday, and I got that big box, and it was such a blessing that he thought about me, that congressman. I'm like, "Oh my God, I was acknowledged by the congressman," and that's why I want to always give back to, to our community, because, it's all about helping each other, right?
There you go.
I agree, 100%.
There it is, right
goes the award right there.
Right there.
There it is.
Yeah, that's so cool. And that's just a surprise reward for what you did
for what you've done. You put a lot of work
for your
into
role,
this,
for your role, what you've been doing. That's just a confirmation that you're doing the right thing. You're on the right track. That's all that means. It's an award, and it's a beautiful thing, but it gives you that confirmation. That's a fantastic thing. It's a beautiful award too. I love it. I love Eagles, so I just think it's so cool.
I love it.
And right on your birthday too,
It
right?
made my day.
Look at the timing. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah. Oh my God! Yeah, and I was like, "Oh my God, the big box!" I was like a baby, because
Right.
I love Christmas.
Yeah, I know,
I'm like, "Big box."
Yeah.
Right?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh my God, what's
That's
that?
so
What's
awesome.
in this big box?" I thought it was alcohol. I'm like, oh my God.
Thought it was alcohol. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was some trouble. I got some trouble.
Oh
I
my
know.
God, that's so funny. That's great. Oh boy. So you're going to have Enrique coming. Tell us a little bit about that event. What you got going for that?
So Enrique's coming May 2nd.
Okay.
It's going to be a Cinco de Mayo event, and it's going to be at the. We're going to have a mariachi. We're going to have a DJ. It's going to be a lot. Have a lot of people that bought tickets.
I want to ask a question. If somebody listening that's not in Florida and wants to donate to the event, this way Enrique gets a little bit of money, a good patriot wants to donate, how can they do that?
They can contact me. We have. They can go to the website. The Hispanic Republicans.
So what is the website?
The HispanicRepublicans.org.
Okay.
Okay, so it's www.hispanicrepublicans.org.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Or they could contact me.
What's your email?
My email, Sandra. Yeah,
Sandra.
Sandra.hrir@gmail.com.
Okay. All right.
Or they can, I'll put it up on our website if they,
Okay.
and I'll talk to Enrique to see if he has a page that.
Yeah, if
they
he
can
has
read
a
it.
page, if Enrique has a page, we'll find out before. Just put it out there if you're still listening, Enrique. Just put it out on the comments, and this way we could post it with it.
Yeah.
This way we could have donations sent to you from some of our listeners that aren't in Florida.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Look, there you go. Good looking, brother. Show him.
Yeah. Yep. I got his page pulled up too. And I
Yeah,
got that
there's a
on there.
picture of him and Sandra we have as well. But
You have one?
I think I don't have it on me. It's at the house, I think.
I have one.
That's cool. That'll be a good event.
Yeah,
So you got
yeah.
mariachi going, and you got.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna
Yeah,
be
got a lot
yeah.
of food. It's gonna be in
Yeah,
a
it's
really
gonna be.
nice spot.
We're
Music,
gonna have
dancing.
a local Mexican restaurant is gonna cater the food, and we have music,
Nice.
50-50. We're gonna have Joe Hoff from the Gateway Pundit. He is amazing. I'm gonna give a shout out to Joe.
Okay.
Because he has been with the J6ers from day one. I mean, from day one, he has covered the story, and that's the only news source that I read. They've covered this fraudulent election since day one. So Joe Hoff and Jim and Joe from the Gateway Pundit, they're the only ones that have been covering all the stuff that's been happening, and they got deplatformed. They were going through so much. I mean, a lot of litigations, people coming after them. They've been sued because, of course, no one wants to hear the truth. They like it says in the Bible, they exchange the truth for a lie, right? So it's all about the truth.
That's what we do here at TGI now. Real
Yeah.
authentic truth
Real
talk.
authentic truth talk.
That's
We
what-
we tell the truth.
And we try.
But listen,
we try.
Really trying.
Well, it's our truth. A lot of people have their own truth.
That's true.
So it's our truth. So we try to, sometimes we differ in our truth, even here in the podcast. But it's okay. We always say it's okay to agree to disagree. You know what I mean? That's okay, and that's how people are going to come together. Because we're not robots. We're not going to all think alike. But we can think differently and still be together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're right. It's all about unity. That's the whole point. It's just people coming together, and
that's what we need. And that's what happened in the election. People came together.
Yeah.
And that's how Trump got into office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because people came together. And you got your MAGA extremists out there today, which is a little muddy for me, but and I don't agree with everything that he's doing, but I gotta trust the process.
Yeah, exactly. I was
You know what I
listening
mean?
to a
Like,
podcast that was saying that today.
Yeah, I just have to trust the process.
You have
I
to.
can't
Yeah.
just judge because there's certain things that bother me. I voiced about the immigration thing, and I voiced about some of the stuff that's going on. But I agree totally with Doge. I do agree with the tariffs because the tariffs is only a bargaining chip. That's all he's doing.
100%.
Because people think that he's trying to create tariffs to bring us more money. No, what he's trying to do is that what he's doing. They're zeroing out this way we zero out.
Even playing field.
Now,
like
even
he's been
playing
talking
field
about.
because because they were charging us so much money. So that's a good thing on the tariffs. I think the only thing that really bugs me is about the immigration thing. That's about it.
I mean, that's the border's closed. The border's getting closed. I mean, it's some of it's getting done. So I mean, like you said, you have to trust the process. You know,
I
you really
do. I mean, I have to trust that someone smarter than me is taking care of it.
I saw the congressman yesterday, and I asked him the question about the immigration. Like, there's people out here that, like, the border was open, but a lot of these people were told to come through that border, right?
That's
it wasn't
right.
like this. They were invited by the previous administration, so people went in and say, well, they have heart, they
Get phone, food,
exactly, get everything
shelter,
free,
yeah.
and political persecution where they went through that border. But however, there's people that are waiting, and that's I heard that Trump is working on those people, like he's getting like the hospitality business. They're gonna be able to go back and then come back, and sponsorship, like a lot of those migrants that are here illegally, they can get sponsorship. I've been working hard, and they're going to be sponsorship. And like, I don't know if you know, but AOC had one of her staff. He was a migrant too, and he self-deported.
Okay.
And he was I think from the DACA, but a lot of people and a lot of these migrants that come in, they overstay their visa.
Yep. It's true.
They're out there protesting, burning. One of my girlfriends told me I had a conference yesterday, and one of my girls that she lives in Arizona. She was saying that a lot of those Mexicans and a lot of those people out there are protesting and go out there burning cars in the streets. So then get your ass back to Mexico and you're going to be deported if you're coming to our country and protesting. Like these terrorists from, what was it, from the college? They were protesting. They get send them back.
But I'm thinking more about the ones that were here before the previous administration. The ones that have been working, the immigrants that came to this country to look for a better life. They have families now. They're not really a burden to the country. They're just working and they're paying taxes because they do pay taxes. However Social Security they use may be wrong, whatever the case may be, but they're trying their best. These are the people I think deserve an opportunity to be Americans. These are the people that are contributing to the country, and they shouldn't be deported. They shouldn't even have to self-leave to have to come back. Because what happens in that time? It's not an overnight thing. It takes months. It could even take years. So these people lose their lives here. And what do they do over there? They don't have a life over there. They don't have a home. They don't have anything.
They're avoiding danger.
So they go homeless. So these are the things that we're not thinking about. Me, as a humanitarian, someone that just loves life and the human, it just bothers me. Do I know what they're doing? Maybe they're doing something better that I don't know. Maybe they're trying to make my life better because I am an American citizen. I don't know. I'm just looking at the big picture, not. You know what I'm saying, John?
No, I know exactly what you're saying. No,
it's just me. I
think you have to start. You have to start somewhere, and I think that and I think Rondell, we talked about this, but the app that it's on the phone that you can when they came in, when Biden let them in, it gave them all the free shit, and now Trump's like, well, if you use the app to deport yourself without getting deported or go to jail, you have a chance to come back. So it's almost like a reverse psychology. They were given phones. They know where the app is. The app is what they were able to go get.
But not all of them were given phones. That happened
it's starting with those that were duped into coming in and get rid of those, get them out first before you start dealing with the other people. They've been there forever.
There was I have a friend that is in New York, and she lives in one of those migrants in hotels. Yeah. And she was when she came through that border. She was giving a phone. She was giving a phone, she was giving a phone. She was giving hotel room, and of course money. And she told me that a lot of those people that were staying in the hotels, they were coming out with Teslas. They had yes, they had some of them came out coming out the border, living in the hotel, BMW. So they're rigging the system. They're getting money. They're doing things. Wow. I mean, look at all these kids that when I was in New York. In the subway, they had their kids selling candy bars. I saw this little girl, she must have been 10 years old, selling candy bars. And I told them in Spanish, ¿Qué tú estás haciendo aquí? ¿Por qué tú no estás en la escuela? Why are you not in school? And you know what she did? She gave me the middle finger.
Wow.
Little girl, I took a picture. I showed her. I took a picture in the subway. You're 10 years old, like my grandson. You're 10 years old. Selling candy. Up and down the carts in New York. In the subway station, okay? This is like Times Square, up and down.
I think he was pissed that you
and I asked her in Spanish. Where's your mom? Where are you going to school? And she got off she waited for me and got off on the next, and then gave me the middle finger. Yeah. I got it on video.
She knew the jig was up. That's what it was. Everybody else is probably, here, I'll buy the candy from you, kid. And you're like, wait a minute.
What's that? Those candy but my sister was telling me that that's the business. So the mother, the parents, people say, hey, you'll make 25 cents or 50 cents out of that. It's the business. They did that to all the kids. Yeah. So that's how they make their money.
Dude, that's crazy.
So anyway, the border's closed. We're happy about that.
Yeah. So that's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely a step in the right direction.
I'm just more like
he just had to get ordered.
Yeah. It's just that there has to be like a thing. Look, those people that you just spoke about, they were a burden to the country.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they were a burden to our taxes, everything.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the ones that weren't. Because before this administration, they weren't given phones or money. They just came through the border and just...
I think they were given money and stuff like
No,
that.
not all of them. Not
Yeah,
all
we
of
just
them.
didn't know it,
Some just came through.
Yeah.
Some just came through with whatever money they had.
Well, yeah.
And they had someone saying, this is where I'm going to stay,
Yeah.
and that's where they went.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them still with family. We're talking about just like, not all of them were criminals.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, a lot of them that came through, they came through with fentanyl, they you know,
All
sex
kinds of
trafficking,
shit,
they
yeah.
came through with little kids. Yeah, let's get rid of these fucking slugs.
Yeah.
But the ones that I'm just saying, and not to play devil's advocate, but I'm just pointing that out, that if anyone is listening that could make a difference, make sure that you guys point that out, that they are people, and you could interview them, see their lives, see the taxes that they paid, everything, any arrests, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, interview the neighbors if you have to.
Yeah.
You know, and then see, okay, this guy's okay. If you have to detain them for a while, because I understand, but let them go. Because to send them back, you think it's an overnight thing? Are they going to come right back?
It takes months.
It's going to take months, bro, maybe even years before they could reapply and come back.
No, I hear you.
So
there.
what happens to them there?
Yeah.
That's my question. I'm not talking about the criminals. Fuck them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not talking about the ones hurting our women, hurting our children, and robbing people. I'm not talking about those people. They deserve to go to El Salvador and rot in jail. Okay? I'm talking about the ones that don't deserve it. That's it.
No, you're right. No, I mean, it's a fine line for sure.
Yeah,
But
they are walking a fine line.
it is. It's a fine line.
But other than that, I think Trump is doing a great job with the Doge thing. I'm being honest. I mean, we could have a difference of opinion. I agree on everything.
Go ahead,
And
Sandra.
Trump cares about all those people. He's
course
not.
he
a-
does,
he has a big heart. He knows what's going on.
Yeah.
He's not gonna let he's not gonna let these people just people with family and kids just go back. He's not
I
looking
know.
into that.
Yeah, I agree with
He's
you
not knocking
there.
on people's doors and say, "All right, go get these families and take them back."
No, they know who they are. They know who these criminals are. They've been tracking them the whole time when they were doing what they were doing. They were tracking everything they were doing, and then they just got to. Then they had to just get the go ahead to go start scooping them up.
You know,
That's all.
Yeah, it's crazy how this last administration let them
Let them all in
in.
like that. You know.
I spoke to last month. I spoke to the Eric our sheriff, and I asked him the same. I asked him a question. I says, "Are you guys because?" You hear all this fear mongering. Everybody's on Facebook and saying, "Oh, ICE is coming and this and that," and they get. So I asked him the question. I said, "Are you guys? Is the sheriff's department going out around and going through like seeing constructions and seeing roofers or seeing lawn people and just sweeping them up?" And he says, "Absolutely not. A lot of these
Yes,
people.
they were.
No, he says a lot of
watched
these
them do
people.
it.
A lot of these people." Either have warrants or are they getting pulled up? Like for instance, if you're an Uber driver is driving and runs a red light, stops it, and then finds out that the Uber driver doesn't have a license. He's from Mexico or he's from Honduras or you know any place you know, and he has a warrant.
That's the
They'll
only
pick
people
them
they
up,
say
but
that
then-
they're messing with.
But a lot of them have gotten picked up. But then they release them. They don't take them. They only
So
take
what
them
you
if
might
they
have
have like
seen,
a
they might
warrant.
have picked them up
Like
and then
a
they might
warrant.
have released
Like
them.
if they have a
Yeah.
warrant, yes, they're
They
not.
pull like 6 cars over into fucking my
But not
and got people out the back. They was getting people out the back of
Where?
the truck in front of our job. They were doing it. I'm talking about one of the cops cut me off. I thought he was pulling
okay,
me
but
over.
not just.
It was
just maybe they were
telling you.
following them because they did
There
for
was like
traffic
5
violation.
trucks they did.
It was for something. It wasn't for just I'm going to pull you over because you have a black car. No, the sheriff
We
didn't
don't
say
know.
that.
Really don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
we don't know.
We just saw the last part of it.
Yeah, we don't
We
know.
just
They
saw the
was
last
crazy.
part.
No, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of situations where we don't know for
The
sure.
whole day.
It's like the J6ers. Like a lot of people didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's just. I think a lot of people were just ignorant.
Yeah.
They didn't want to know.
Well, Enrique, he wasn't even there, right? Like that. Yeah. What's
No, Enrique wasn't.
No,
Enrique wasn't even.
because
He
he
had
was the
nothing
leader
to
of the
do.
Proud
He had nothing
Boys.
to do with it.
He's the
Yeah.
leader of the Proud Boys,
Yeah.
and they thought that the Proud Boys were the one that organized the whole thing,
Yeah.
and set up the whole thing.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to be there, but they got him on conspiracy. It's a conspiracy charge in a sense. I mean, he could
Yeah.
correct me,
Yeah.
but it's a conspiracy charge. Even though he wasn't there, they considered him to be the ringleader.
Yeah.
Like he's the one that called the shot.
Yeah.
He tried to hit him with a RICO case.
35 years, bro. Just imagine that shit.
22.
22.
I think 22.
22 years, whatever.
22, but they were going to give him the map, like
Yeah,
everything.
22 years
They
is
wanted to do a
enough.
book.
I tell you.
Here it is, right here. Yeah.
And not only that, these guys, what they would do, the J6ers, a lot of them they were moving them every month. They were moving them from. I mean, you couldn't even track them.
Yeah, Lego
'Cause
Man
we
was
would
telling
send-
us.
'cause we
Yeah,
were trying
they
to
moved them
send,
several
we send
times.
money, like we had a
22
group.
years. Yeah.
So they couldn't,
Some of the Chinese
couldn't
community-
send them money.
We
They
couldn't
move them
send
so
them
you
money. We
couldn't-
couldn't send them letters.
And they
we sent
changed the
them money.
number every time
money
they go
only-
somewhere else.
Exactly.
Say
Nothing.
conspiracy.
Yeah.
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 22 years. You see.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Fucking
crazy.
crazy.
That's nuts.
That's nuts, bro. Just a good patriot. What the fuck? It wasn't a gang. Jesus Christ. It was an organization.
Exactly.
Proud Boys, you know, so they made him like white supremacists. The guy's a Latino. You know what I'm saying? He's as brown as me, bro.
Exactly.
It was pretty.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So,
like my
come
cousin
on, man.
Nigel.
Yeah. Come on, bro.
Yeah, they wanted for him to write out Trump when Trump didn't even tell him anything.
Trump didn't even tell him.
He will be a free man. All he had to do is write out Trump, and you
Nah,
know what?
man, be a
For
trooper,
that,
bro.
that's
Nah,
That's
man.
crazy.
You know.
We
Yeah,
grew up
that's-
not ratting, bro.
Exactly.
We don't rat, bro. Even
I mean,
if it was
but-
true,
but-
we ain't telling you shit.
That's fucking crazy.
exactly.
100, bro.
Can't help you, brother.
Yeah, that's
You got, I'm looking forward to meeting him. Respect, you know. I really am looking forward to meeting him. I respect that, you know.
yeah.
Exactly. He could have said,
Yeah, not even that, you know.
Walked
I mean,
away.
look, the guy was in jail for something he didn't do. Can you imagine that? I mean, I went to prison for something I did. Imagine going to prison for something you didn't do.
Right. 22
Not
years.
good, bro. That's a
22
bad
fucking
thing.
years, man.
A shout out to Bob Henderson. He had wanted me
Oh,
to tell
yeah.
you guys, hey, thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
He wants to
Gotta
put
get
his
you back
little
soon.
label on the thing. He says we could put his little label, you know, for people to join up. Come try to
That's
get the
awesome.
Florida chapter growing.
Okay.
So I put a post out there for anybody, just putting this out there for citizens and bikers for a brighter future. What we do is that we go out and we prevent child sex trafficking, you know, women getting abused by men or getting abused by whoever, you know, we stop that elder abuse. So if you guys are interested in getting involved in that, this is the jacket here. This, you know, so it's a club, but it's an organization. So, you know, we're a non-for-profit and we go out and we do rescues. So if you guys are interested, you can reach me either on, you can DM me or just call me. I ain't got no shame. My phone number, everybody has it already. 772-713-0921. My name is Eddie. I'm the president of the Florida chapter of Citizens and Bikers of a Brighter Future. And I'm endorsing the international chapter. And we're all over the world now. We're in Ireland. We went in 20 different spots. You know, I'm trying to get a guy, you know, Gabe Hall to get involved too. So, and he has a state. So we're trying to broaden it out, you know, because there's a lot of this is going on. You have a lot of these kids that, you know, these unaccompanied minors, where are they? You know, they're being sex trafficked. And I want to, you know, if I could save one, hey, listen, if my purpose is just to save one, I'm good with that, you know, and you know, we've saved many. We've saved many, you know, so we want to get more involved here in Florida. So if you do, I don't care where you are, the West Coast, I could make you a chapter president over there, you know what I mean? So just let me know who you are. And I'll definitely, you know, be happy to contact you. Again, my number is 772-713-0921.
Yeah, we had a great response for the podcast. We had a lot of views, a lot of shares. It was a lot of new subscribers, since a lot of people were interested in what Bob had to say. Yeah, so we'll definitely have him back on the show for sure. And I guess he's going to be down here too at one point. Is he
Yeah,
coming
he's
down?
going to come down in July. He's going to speak in Sandra's event, and then we're going to have him here. We just got to find housing for him because he wants to come with his daughter. So we'll do something about that. The show, we'll put out a plug to get some donations.
Yeah, that's no problem. We can do that. That's easy.
Yeah,
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, that'll be cool to have him come down. Sandra, don't forget to sign the wall too. You got to sign the wall. The wall of fame.
The wall of fame.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so all of our guests that come, that end up here in the fame, the wall. The ones that we have on digital don't, but you know, we remember them.
Yeah.
wow. First you're gonna get a bigger studio.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, hopefully that's the
I
goal.
gotta tell you, the studio has grown from the one we had last time in my office.
saw the shop.
Yeah, right. Yep. It's
You
definitely
know, so
bigger.
there's
It's
a lot more room. Yeah, We don't have to eat pizza in the cave. You just have to leave the room. The pizza wouldn't fit. That's how small it was.
Yep. For any new listeners out there.
No, we've gone digital. We've gone way different.
Yeah.
We started this podcast with one microphone.
Yep.
That we shared, in the middle of Sandra's and I's cannabis shop.
Right.
We had
Right in the middle.
right in the middle, man. It was crazy. Yeah, we got together.
Yeah, we sure did.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, a lot of those have been popping up in my memories too. Like the one we did with Moms for Liberty popped up with Born Books. That was 3 years ago. We did that show.
3 years ago that we did that. Yeah, we had 3 ladies there that day.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, they fit in that little room
3 years ago.
Yeah,
that was the first podcast we did.
I think Joanne wasn't Joanne in that.
No,
Jen?
it was
Jen?
Rick and
Rick and
Jen
Chris.
and Chris.
And
Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah. They were there. They were in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good little
It
show.
was a good show, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we've had football, Zeke Mata.
Right.
We've had our guests, which has been fun,
I'll tell you what, that one we did with Jordan Clark still getting fucking views.
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
Jordan Clark. The one we did with Jordan
he's
Clark.
a big influencer on Instagram and on social media.
That fucking.
You gotta put Tarrio.
Yeah, but
We definitely want to have him on.
we definitely want to have him on the show, even if we do because we can do
We can do this.
a
Yeah.
satellite.
We'll just tag him on
tag him on. We'll send you the link
on
and you
Twitter.
can
Yeah.
pop on,
Yes, we can do
because
that.
we're live on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, X.
Yeah.
So we're live in several platforms. This is just a Rumble platform that we plug into first, and then from there shoots out to all the other ones.
Yep.
But Rumble is pretty much not going to ban us. YouTube has a tendency of banning us.
YouTube's been good to us lately, so I'm a little shocked.
Yeah.
Really?
Even the one
man.
we had with.
As soon as I said the word stolen, John looked at me and said, "Well, I'm off YouTube."
Not anymore.
Remember John back in the day?
to be like, there goes
There goes YouTube.
Even the last 5 or 6 we've done, they haven't fucked with them. So
No, so it's good.
Crazy.
Kind of nice.
Good looking YouTube.
I think they should go. I think, Benny Johnson from. You ever seen? Listen to Benny Johnson.
He's going to Rumble, right?
Benny Johnson from the Benny Johnson show. So he went last week to Congress and he spoke about that deplatforming and.
Oh, really?
He was up there.
All right.
He was up there. I think it was him. I think it was
Was it
Steve
Crowder?
Bannon.
Steve was okay, Bannon.
No wonder my Facebook likes getting.
Oh, he was. They were
going crazy
up. They
again.
were up there because
That's good.
he was a platform. You talked about the job. You talked about the J6ers. You talked about election.
Yeah,
That's
awesome.
I mean, I only have Facebook. I don't like Instagram, and I'm not into that. I only go on Facebook for
She goes
political
on.
reasons.
She doesn't do anything but political. She might
That's
throw a
it.
picture about grandmother.
Yes.
And then,
Only for political because I hate
Yeah.
Facebook.
Well,
Hate it.
It's all rigged like everything else.
Yeah, what they did to us
Facebook
is just.
is a
I'm not
joke.
happy.
Yeah.
I'm not happy. And I don't know that, but they said he sold us out to China. That Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg, he sure did.
He should go back. He should go to jail.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Got my hat on. We'll
I
see
know
what
people
happens.
People got to go to jail though. That's
People
for real.
gotta go to jail.
Really do. I mean, you got again. We go back to the J6ers. These people went to jail for nothing.
Why you think they
These,
following the
these
money?
people need to go to jail for something.
We got to get to somebody. That money end up to somebody. At the end of it, that's what they're looking for. Somebody to
I
look.
think I heard
Somebody to
somewhere
say, "Hey,
that-
yep, this is who we did it."
This girl, AOC used to make nothing. Now she's been only in office a few years, and I think she's worth like a few $1 million.
Oh yeah, 100%.
How the hell is that?
Because they're influencers. That's what they become. They become influencers. They hire them. She was
Paid
hired.
for
She was.
public
She was. They did it. They did an interview process for her, like a casting call. She's like an actor. That's all she is.
I wish I lived in New York. I would challenge.
Oh
challenge
yeah,
her.
right? Yeah. She's an actor. She's an
If I
actress.
moved back to New York, I'd challenge AOC.
Right? Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Probably you too.
Yeah.
Right? Right.
That's the only way I moved back to New York.
That's the only way I'm going back.
Yes, challenge AOC. She's from Queens. I challenge her. And everybody's I get all my Dominican people, all my friends back in New York. They don't know me.
This is
So
Joe.
you gotta vote for me.
Is that Joe Hoff? Is that Jim Hoff's brother or whatever?
Yes.
Okay. He's not going to be at your event tomorrow, right? The other guy is.
No. They're gonna be at the
Okay.
the Cinco de Mayo. So I have
So Joe
sponsorship.
Hoff's going to be there. Okay.
Yes, anybody wants to do a sponsorship, I have the sponsorship for the event.
Okay. All right.
So everybody's gonna come, have a good time. We're gonna dance.
Right.
We're gonna We're gonna have a wonderful time. When I had the Trump party, I had like 175 people.
All right.
So John's coming. He's gonna help me with cleanup. He's had on tape.
Is Enrique had it on tape?
Well,
Enrique's
tomorrow's gonna be
here.
really nice.
Yeah.
Tomorrow,
Yeah. Well,
you know,
tomorrow I'm gonna try. What's tomorrow? I might try to come by tomorrow.
yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna have
It's gonna be at the
Jason-
Heritage.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to
It's gonna
swing
be at
by
the
there
Heritage
for sure.
Center. There's,
All
I
right.
got a lot of. I'm getting a lot of people calling me.
All right. I'll bring my
And, you know,
I'll bring my microphone and see if
Not
I
a
can
big
get
Yeah,
some.
you could get one of the
yeah.
J6s.
Yeah.
So
Then we
Sandy could
have-
introduce you.
Yeah. I'll go live on the Facebook
And
page.
there's gonna be a lot of
All right. Yeah.
people coming from different parts of Florida.
All right. And then Enrique, if he's here, if Enrique's here, maybe we have him come to the
And
studio.
then
if he
Enrique's
stays in
coming out,
town.
yeah.
He's coming
The
May
second, the
yeah.
second.
All right. So he's
Yeah, but we
Him
could
has-
probably even do something live over there with
Yeah.
him too. I mean,
Alright.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, he's
we'll figure it
yeah.
out. Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll work on it.
He's been somebody that Sandra and I he's been in our prayers and everything else. You know, he
Okay.
was in there before this whole thing happened. Before
Alright.
like he got, you know, exonerated out of that bullshit. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
All right.
Yeah, I was follow him
Yeah, she
and
followed him.
just
She had, you know, she had met him, and so ever since then, you know, he's been in our prayers. You know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that'll be good. We'll try to work
Look what
that
prayer
out.
got you. That boy free.
Yeah, man. That's how that
yeah,
worked.
and I watched that. I watched when he got sentenced. You know, I was like, oh my
Sandy was
god.
hurt, yeah.
22
was like-
fucking years.
Yeah, that was terrible. I was like, I can't believe how
Can't
do you,
believe what you're listening to.
you know what? You know, I want you to listen to the interview that he did with Joe Huff, and he said that even though they gave him the 22 years, that he knew in his heart
Yeah.
that he was going to come out.
100%. Yeah.
You know, he knew in his heart, like he wasn't like crying or pissed. He just said he knew that God was going to do it. And you know what?
You know,
I remember that day, election night, and I'm gonna find it. I got interviewed. I think Shuna interviewed me. Oh, I think it was Shuna. I remember that night they interviewed me. There was the whole bunch because we were in the convention center. I got invited to inauguration night at the convention center, and it was amazing. Oh my God, it was. I told that he didn't want to come. I think it was a Tuesday, yeah, because you guys were here,
Yeah.
and it was wild. Like it was. The screen kept coming up, and you know, for one thing, I didn't have. Yes, I trust God, but I had that fear in me that they were going to steal it again.
Yeah.
But I kept seeing those numbers, and I said, I need to see Georgia. I saw the Georgia, and I'm like, everybody was boosting. Then we saw North Carolina. But then what happened was when we were in the crowd, they had, I think it was, Kamala Harris's assistant, somebody in her campaign. He said, "Oh, Kamala Harris is not going to be able to speak tonight, and she'll speak tomorrow."
Yeah,
And
that's
then
what
right
you do.
after that,
Yeah.
we saw the dynamics of the room,
Yeah. Change.
the convention center change. And I told one of the girls, because she was with one of her boyfriend was one of the Secret Service, and he was on duty that day, and she was with him. She wasn't with him, but she was part of the crowd with us.
Yeah.
And she said they said that they just all got called to go to Mar-a-Lago. And I says, why? This is because he's no longer the presidential candidate. He's the president-elect.
Yeah.
So that means they had already known that he was going to. And I said, "Oh my God, don't tell me that." I was like, then you saw like North Carolina. Then you started seeing. Then when you saw Pennsylvania, oh my God! And then I was with Shuna. I had invited my Chinese girlfriend, and I said, "Shuna," and me and her were jumping up and down. I started screaming and crying hysterical. I called Daddy, he was sleeping. I called my sister. I called, oh my God, I was trying to call everybody because I couldn't believe it. Like, oh my God, he won. I started crying. And I was like full of adrenaline. I did not sleep from that day, from the day, because that morning, election day, we were at the IG Center at 8 o'clock in the morning. I had a whole bunch of people, like 40 people at the IG Center waving flags for Trump. And I was there. And I said, I got to go to the convention center.
Right, yeah.
From 6 o'clock in the morning to the next day that I had to work. I had to get on a flight to go, I think it was to New York somewhere. I didn't sleep like it was like I was up 36 hours. That's how my adrenaline was. It was like crazy.
God.
And then I didn't tell Eddie. Then I took my when I came home, I think I got home at 5:30 in the morning. At 7:00 in the morning, I took my Trump flags and I started going up and down the block, running up and down the blocks,
that's
like
great.
Trump won, Trump won. I was so happy. It was like amazing. And then I said, "Oh my God." So when he won, I started crying. I says, "Oh my God, they're gonna free the J6ers. Oh my God, they're free. They're free." Because that's what I told. That's what when I had the interview, when the guy interviewed, and I want to find that interview. They said, what do you want out of all this? I says, I want those guys to come out free. They're gonna free the J6ers. And then I said, sure, they're gonna free the J6ers. Oh my God, they're coming, because Trump promised, and he said, because one thing about Trump, promises made, promises kept. You know. And he did it.
Wasted no time.
100%.
First thing he did, he says, I'm going to do it right in front of her. He goes, that's the, and I was so happy. Yeah. He goes, I want all of them out.
Is there any J6ers that are still in jail? 'Cause I think there is a few.
I heard there was one or two, and I think it was because of they had warrants or something that that held them back.
I know there were still some that were still in there, but I wasn't sure what. I saw you were General Flynn too. That's awesome. That's great.
Yes, I mean General Flynn. That's awesome.
That's great. That's awesome. Look at that.
I want to get a picture with Steve Bannon. I love Steve Bannon.
That's great. That's when you were up there, right? Yeah.
That was is that January 6th?
Yes, January 6th.
January 25th.
Yep, that was it. That was
wow.
January 6th.
J6.
And you know that hat? Look at that hat.
That's great.
That's a Hebrew hat.
So that hat I should have wore it today. But that hat, look, if you go, so that hat is a hat that's in Hebrew. It says "Make America Great."
Make America great again.
Make America Great again. And behind me, I was behind. There was a whole bunch of people behind me, and they were from Israel, and they were singing in Hebrew the national anthem. They were. So I looked at them and I said, "Oh my God, you guys are singing!" And they were like praising the Lord, and they were like all in Hebrew. And I turned around and I said, "Oh wow, look at your hat!" And they were all wearing the same hat, the red hat. I says, "What does your hat say? Is that a MAGA hat?" He goes, "Yes." He says, "It says Make America Great in Hebrew." And I said, "Oh my God, that's beautiful." I went to Israel, and he goes, "Here, do you want the hat?" And he puts it on my head, and I wore it, and I've been happy. And I still have that hat, and I said I'm going to have Trump sign that hat.
Right.
It said, Make America Great Again in Hebrew.
That's crazy. That's a synchronicity. That's what that was. It was just tells you were right where you were supposed to be.
Huh?
Yeah.
Just says you were right there where you were supposed to be. You were supposed to be.
That's me and Shuna. Look at my.
You see the nice boots she had on, though, right?
Yeah.
I know. I
Huh?
thought that.
That's me and my girlfriend Shuna.
Yeah. That's great.
That's the day of. Oh, did you have me singing? Remember, It Is Great with My Soul that we were singing.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. That's great.
And I came out. So right after Trump, they said they called it for Trump. It was like 3:00 in the morning. We were leaving, and there was a whole big crowd singing the song "It Is Well with My Soul." It is well. So I went in the crowd and I started singing. All of a sudden, I'm getting phone calls and saying, "Sandra, New York, all over," and it was on the Dan Bongino show. You see me all over, like singing and stuff like that. Singing, I'm like, "Oh my God, that's me!" I said, "I saw you on TV." I'm like, "Really?"
That's so funny.
Yes.
I saw you on TV.
I saw you on TV singing.
That's great. That's awesome. All right. Well,
We're about done.
Yeah, about an hour.
Yeah,
a
man.
little over an hour. Yep, hour and 8
Well,
minutes.
Sandra, I just want to say thanks for coming on the show. I guess we'll be
absolutely.
taking the ride home.
Right?
So she won't be going to the green room. We have a green room, but we put people in on video.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's an inspection.
It's no one's up on the screen. We put them in the background.
in the
So-
background.
Yeah.
So anybody that wants to go to El Cinco de Mayo,
Yeah.
it's going to be May 2nd, Friday from 7 to 11
Yeah.
at the Polish American Social Club of Vero Beach.
Yeah.
Our guest of honor is Enrique Tarrio, J6 Patriot. Special guest, Joe Hoff from the Gateway Pundit. We're going to have live mariachi, DJ, Mexican food, 50-50 drawing, lots of fun.
That's great.
To purchase tickets, please contact me. There's always going to be a cash bar. You do not want to miss the Hispanic Republican Party. It's amazing. We have so much fun. We're going to also have a photo booth, and you can take pictures with Tarrio and come meet him, love on him. He's gonna let you know, talk to you, get to know him, the person he is. Thank you guys, and if you want to be a sponsor, let me know.
All right, yeah. And after the event, I guess we'll have him on the show.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Support.
Yeah, come out and support Sandra and get her, give her a
share the
shout.
show, guys. And again, if you guys are local and you want to pay by credit card, you can stop by our shop. We're at 790 15th Place. We're the Wellness Center out there. We're the Cure Leaf Wellness Center. So if you guys want to check that out. Also, drop by. If you guys want to use your credit card, and I'll make sure you guys get a ticket.
All right, and we'll keep plugging it the next couple of weeks as well, so we can do that too.
Alrighty, guys. God bless. Thanks, Sandra, for showing up.
All right, yeah, thank you, Sandra. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
so much.
Thank you.
All right,
On the
guys.
floor.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I know, on the floor. All right, guys, stay human.
Love his fingers. We out.
Yeah, we out.